Yo, what's going on? Okay, so welcome to Cameron's Daily Tactics channel. This is the first video where I'm going to be doing this. 3 to 5 minute clips of me just spitting game and sharing lessons and learnings of getting up to an $100 million a year company. If you haven't met me before, my name's Cameron, 20 years old, have 2 companies that collectively do around $700,000 a month. Now, what I'm going to be sharing today are the lessons that I learned from Cole Gordon's 8-figure boardroom, the $72,000 a year mastermind. Now, as of right now, I'm in beautiful Scotland in my hotel room right now, and I just want to share with you, going into the final day, some of the key lessons that I've learned and what I'm going to be rolling out and why. So the first one is going to be tiered comp for sales teams and account managers, because what there is in business is there's something called the law of disproportionate return on output. Meaning for setters to go from 2 or 3 outbound sets a day up to 4, it isn't just like one extra unit of effort like it is from like 1 to 2. What happens is the more sets they get, the harder it is to get the next set. Not only because, well, they have to do more dials, and those sets are usually harder to get for the reason that, you know, the first set might just be a laydown. The second set might be like a laydown, but the third set might be really difficult to get. They might have to do outbound in the pipeline. So because of the law of disproportionate effort, people are looking at this through the lens of like, is the juice worth the squeeze? The way I can apply this to business is, for example, in my agency Pinpoint Scaling, we noticed when we were at like 100 clients, we have a 12% churn, we lose 12 clients a month. That means we have to sign 12 to stay in the same spot. I'm like, okay, the amount I get out for what I put in to this machine, just there's a law of disproportionate return, right? So it's the exact same with setters and closers, but the way they see it is just based on their like output of how much hard work they put in for how much additional commission they're going to get, right? So the solution to this problem is at that key sticking point, the sticking point where it starts getting really difficult and the law of disproportionate return really starts playing into effect. You want to have banded compensation. So for the longest time, I've always just given like 5% cash to setters, 10% to closers. But now what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, once you hit like 100K in cash collected, we're actually going to move you up. But anything after that is going to be 12.5%. as an example. And then we do the same for setters. I'm still figuring out what this will look like, but hopefully this will help you. Cole said that he didn't believe in this initially, but this right away made him like it increased their output by like 20 to 30%, because, you know, there's 2 ways you can incentivize team members. You have external and internal incentives. External, usually monetary. Internally, usually non-monetary, like, you know, why are you doing this? What are you doing it for? Do they like the culture? So on and so forth. Second thing. Okay, so there's this like graph in, I can't be asked to pull up the graph, but there's this graph of like, okay, how hard are you on the team? And then how like nice are you with the team or direct? And you want to be in the happy medium, the top right, of being in grounded candor. Now, there's usually one of 2 founders. There's the tyrant, the one that's really fucking hard, but isn't grounded, right? Meaning like, they will just fucking rip loose, and that's why their team churn is so high, because they just like burn people out, right? And then on this side, there's the person that is, oh, how the fuck did he explain this again? It's like this spectrum. Let me just pull this up. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so we've got grounded candor, which is where you want to be, where you're direct, you're immediate, and you're regulated. Most founders are either in relational pushover, where they're calm, and they just like let their team walk all over them, which is where standards drop, right? It's actually better to be a tyrant than it is any of the others, except for grounded candor, of course, which is where you're honest, but you can let loose and you get really fucking angry. Now, the sweet spot of this is you want to be in the grounded candor, which is where you're direct, where you're immediate, but you're also regulated. You're not approaching situations out of a place of emotion. You're not getting aggressive. You're not shouting. Simple example of this would be, let's say you have a team member that shows up to a team meeting late. You're like, John, why are you late? It's like, oh, yeah. Like, John, you know we had a team meeting that started 5 minutes ago. Why'd you jump on 5 minutes late? And you do that publicly in front of the team to just reset the standard and remind them. And then you go, you do know that we have a company policy for showing up on time, right? And if you're not on time, you put it in the Slack channel before the meeting starts so we know. So you understand that? Cool. So you're not going to do that again? Great. Instead of just going and being like, John, why the fuck are you late? This is unacceptable, which is tyrant. You want to be in the grounded candor, where what you do, the steps are the following. Step 1, you set the standard. Step 2, you do it without triggering emotion. Okay, he mentioned this book called Unreasonable Hospitality that's really good on this. And then step 3 is you don't react to the activity, you react to the pattern, right? So then you remind the team like, okay, John, why is being late bad? And they should be able to articulate this as well as you. For example, I can be like, look, you guys might think I'm being really hard on you because Kevin was 3 minutes late. But you don't understand that I'm not looking at this based on the activity of him just being 3 minutes late. I'm doing it based on the pattern. If this pattern continues and everyone on the team was 3 minutes late for this year, how much additional time do we waste? How much money does that accumulate to that we could have otherwise made? How does that pan out in how we serve our clients and the time we can allocate to them? So you react to the pattern and not the activity. Number 3 is this channel. Cole gave me this idea. I was just chatting with him one-on-one. He didn't even mention this, but someone who's doing this really well is Nick Sariev, just a daily tactics channel documenting. And I really enjoy this stuff, so I thought it'd be a good idea to just get more lead flow and documentation and learning. Like, the best way of learning is teaching, so I'm basically just doing that. Another one, which was funny enough, this was actually me. I went on stage on Cole's event, and I presented this as something that we're doing monthly internal webinars. But somebody else mentioned the affiliate push thing, and I'm like, fuck, this is a genius idea. So now monthly, we're going to run a monthly promotional calendar cycle where we do a monthly internal webinar on leads that showed that didn't close, and then one on all DQ'd leads where we push them to a free training that gets them on some degree of an affiliate, so we can liquidate the ad spend of what it costs to get that lead. Like Base 44 pays $250 a sign up. What if we did a free training on, like, hey, you can learn how to make money with AI. It's like a 30-minute training, and they sign up for Base 44, easy money. Also a yearly giveaway. So we do like a, hey, we're doing a scholarship, you can get our program, it's $20K for free, and then basically one person wins, everyone else, you send an email as like a runner-up, you give them like 25% off. Another key lesson is from Spencer, who's his CMO. He also runs a company called SalesKick. 99% of businesses, the biggest mistake they make as they grow, as you go from like solopreneur to manager to leader, is you have talent miscalibration. Meaning, like, your definition of an A player is heavily skewed, and you still think that you need to do everything to run the ship, when the reality is you just don't have the right people. And you'll see this. I go to his events, and I, like, see how his team is, and they're really fucking good. So my lesson here is I'm going to start paying to, like, shadow top people to actually see what good looks like. And then another thing is, like, which ties into this, most people, including me, because I SOP everything out my arse, I have an SOP for everything, I thought that the SOPs and the systems were the solution to a lot of my problems, when the reality was they're actually not that important. And if you just pay 20 to 30% more than the industry average for each role, you'll find that the SOPs and the systems were not the problem, it was actually the people. Now, the final thing, which was more of a reminder, again, in business we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Once you transition from solopreneur to manager to leader, which I feel like I'm in that interim stage of going from manager to leader now, every 1 hour of recruiting saves like 10 hours of future me's time, and it's the highest leverage thing that I can do in the business. And one of the best highs that we've recently made that I can attribute to this, like us getting such insane talent recently, is we got an in-house recruiter. So yeah, that's my daily tactic video for today. Goodbye.